Thank you for joining our live stream here. Going to be a jam-packed funeral. I am now joined by John Fisher. John, have I got this right? You have never actually met the Queen?
Oh, that's right, Bill. Never met her in me life.
Interesting. And what was that like? What was it like?
Yeah, he's all right, I suppose.
You never once came in contact with her. You never once shook her hand. You never seen her passing. You'd never seen her at all. Isn't that right?
I just never met her, you know. It's just one of those things, really. I never really got the chance, you know.
And what was that like, John? What's it like never meeting the Queen before?
There was a few times I nearly met the Queen, but
mind blowing.
It just never manifested. It never really happened.
And do you have any plans to even go to the funeral, John?
I've no real plans to go to the funeral.
Okay.
It's a bit of a trek,
right,
where I'm from. But you know, maybe someday in the future, it might happen.
And she is dead.
Like if I died and went to heaven and I met the Queen there,
right?
Well, then so be it. But
okay.
For the moment, anyway, Bill, I don't see that happening now.
That's incredible. Now, don't forget, if you missed the start of the funeral, don't worry. You can catch it all over on Funeral Plus One. That's Funeral Plus One. For all those latecomers, where were you? No excuse. The official Bart Simpson Twitter account said, "Cowabunga, ma'am." Oh, typical Bart. Typical Bart. And Nando's have confirmed under no circumstances will any of their dishes be cheeky today out of respect for the Queen. Cork fishmonger Patrick White, who met the Queen and her husband Philip a few years back. Can you tell us more about that?
That's right, Bill. Herself and the fella Philip was down there, you know, a few years back. She was saying how her nanny Vicky, God mercy on her, always said the Irish were her favourite famine victims, and then they'd always joke at the fact that everyone starved over here, despite the whole island being surrounded by fish. Right. Thick as two planks, she called us. After her right pair. Then Philip picked up a black shoal and said it must be an African fish before throwing it on the ground and stamping on it. She were nearly all keeled over with the laughing. Her Majesty took out a bottle of Adrenochrome then, and then necked the thing back like 'twas nothing. Growled then like a rabid dog and hobbled off. A lovely couple now, I have to say.
As part of the Irish delegation to the funeral, President Michael D. Higgins arrived over with a tray of ham sandwiches wrapped in tinfoil. So God bless his cotton socks. Well done, Michael D. The Queen is still dead. She is still dead. Okay, now I'm delighted to say I've been joined now by Clara, the clairvoyant, who is, have I this right? You're in contact with Diana.
That's right, Bill. I have a hotline to the spirit realm.
Wow, that's incredible. And tell me this. What does Diana make of all this? She must be very, very sad.
I believe she is, Bill. I'm sorry, I'm trying to communicate now, but it's hard to hear her. There's a lot of music blaring in the spirit realm.
They have music in the spirit realm?
Oh, yes, yeah. She's a big Smiths fan, so she's currently playing The Queen is Dead on repeat.
Good taste. And tell me this. Does she have a message for the British public in these sorrowful times?
Oh, hold on. She's coming through clear now, Bill. Hold on, one sec. Okay. She's saying it's a bit mad how into me you lot are now that I'm dead. And, okay, she's saying I could have done with the support when I was alive. She's saying she could have done with all the support.
Oh, the poor thing. That's a fair point, though.
Hold on, there's more, Bill. Hold on, one sec. Right. She's looking for a Netflix login from anyone really.
Netflix?
She had the password for the palace, but Charles is after changing it.
Oh, now there is, I know Netflix is after changing all this kind of thing, but look, we'll see what we can do.
Okay, I'll let her know, Bill. Thank you.
Okay, that was Clara there. Thanks very much, Clara, and it was great to hear from Diana. It was so nice of the poorer people in England to agree not to be hungry today. See, you can do it if you feel like it. Just say to yourself, what would the Queen want? She'd want you to just decide no hunger today. So if you are hungry, too bad. The Queen's dead. So, God, I'm so sick of people giving out. So, don't know if you heard me, but I'm sure there's not a cancer patient with a cancelled appointment today that could complain about what we're seeing now. The huge crowds, of course, cascading into London. Oh, God, here she is. News just coming in now. The RAF, the Royal Air Force, has shot down a Ryanair plane for attempting to take off. Now, that's scenes coming out. I think this is just outside London somewhere. Horrific scenes coming in. I'm not sure if we talked to the Daily Mail yet, did we? And now I'm joined by Daily Mail columnist Sarah Boyle. Sarah, thanks very much for taking the time here.
You're very welcome.
A very sad occasion here this morning. But what a selfless servant the woman worth 25 billion was.
Meghan did it.
Sorry, Sarah? Sarah said...
Meghan killed her.
Sorry, what did you say?
It was Meghan Markle. She killed her.
Okay. Do you mean in a literal sense, or shot her with a gun sense, or a more figurative, died from the slow shock of having the royal bloodline sullied by a mixed-race woman kind of way? Both. They'll take off their little hats. They're going to take off their little hats. Now, those furry hats are actually microphones, which will help amplify all the sobbing the public will be doing. They're removing the Queen from the carriage here. Look at the shuffles. Look at the shuffles there. You can see on the ground the footprints from their training earlier on. Now, personally, I would have raked over that to make it look like it was a first go, but not everyone is a perfectionist like me. No statues, the Protestants. They have no statues of Mary or Jesus or anything like that. That's the difference. That's basically the core difference between Catholics and Protestants. Protestants don't like statues, and Catholics like to break the third commandment. Oh, best of luck on your journey from all at the Celtic Football Club, the Davy in Glasgow. Oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. How does this fit into the broader Marvel Cinematic Universe? Asks John. All hail King Charles and his 100% perfectly normal human fingers, and that's from Camilla in London. Up in heaven now with her husband Philip and her close friend James Jimmy Savile. That's from David in Chelsea. On our premium feed, you can get access to the coffin cam by pressing red on your remote control. And as I said, that's brought to you by Pizza Express for all your alibi needs. She was only 4 years away from getting a letter from herself, points out David and Kent. As I said, we have a commemorative Queen t-shirt in our store. That's the Waterford Whispers store. All proceeds go to the Queen's funeral. Little look back. The Queen, I don't know whether it's her great-grandmother or grandmother, but she did visit in 1849. It just shows you they always had love for the Irish. Now, of course, the Queen has a special place in Irish hearts due to the fact she single-handedly brought about peace in Northern Ireland in the 1990s by visiting Ireland in 2011 and speaking a bit of Irish and sipping a pint of Guinness. And as I was saying earlier on, the cost of living crisis has been cancelled for a week, so please keep your moaning for another week. And if you're just joining us, we're live. We're live on Waterford Whispers, which is more I can say for the Queen. Again, the Queen
with silent prayer,
yesterday,
just there,
the Queen was flown
at the high altar
at half-mast.
will meet again.
A lot of guns as well. A lot of guns, as you can see. A lot of soldiers carrying guns. And it makes you wonder, it makes you imagine, how many bloody Sundays worth of guns is there? How many? Must be, I'd say you could have about 1,000 bloody Sundays. Lovely voices. All these young men, of course, castrated at an early age to keep their voices young and crisp. And you see her coffin, it's quite tall. Of course, that's because she is actually standing up. she is actually standing up in the coffin, and what happens there is they actually wait until rigor mortis sets in, and once she's stiff enough, they place her in an upright position into the upright coffin, as a queen never lies down. Not a big turnout inside. You know, I have seen bigger funerals. But I'm sure pretty much that's down to seat allocation. Prince Harry there. Of course, she would have lived 20 years longer if it was not for Prince Harry. She would have lived a longer time, I think. I think she would have lived to 110 if it wasn't for that pup. He's wearing the ceremonial bottle opener that's used by the Queen. She did like a bottle of beer every night. Good thing Philip's not around to see this, but beautiful service so far. Boris Johnson was seen visibly drinking tins of carling earlier in the Mass. Now he's at the back. Probably he'll nip out before the end of the service when the communion is taking place. Again, just an update from London Met. We would like to remind our public that for the duration of this mourning period, Prince Andrew is not a nonce. The public will be arrested if they try to say he is. Funeral going on a bit. Must say, I didn't expect it to be going on so long. I thought I'd have an hour of this and that's it, I'm out. But now, the choir boys are being paid minimum wage, which is more I can say for the palace staff. You all know of our West Brit mug. For those viewers in Ireland tuned in. Are you a West Brit? Are you watching the funeral now? Well then, buy our West Brit mug. And now I'm joined by the Queen's former protection officer, Richard Griffin, who has a remarkable story of the Queen to share. Richard, go ahead there. I love this.
Thank you, Bill. That's right. The Queen would always, as you know, holiday in Scotland every summer. Mm-hmm. And normally you'd meet absolutely nobody up there in the hills. But on this particular day, there was 2 hikers coming towards us. And the Queen, she would always stop and say hello. And it was, this time it was 2 Americans. And the Queen on this occasion turned to me, bold as brass, and I'll never forget it. She turned to me and she said, "Get your gun out. Get your gun out." And I was like, "Pardon me, ma'am?" I thought I misheard. And she said, "Get your gun out, and I bet I can shoot them from here," she said. And so the tourists couldn't have been more than 30 feet away, and wow. She literally grabbed my gun, right? And credit to the old dear, she shot the man between the eyes, straight between the eyes. Oh. And after pursuing the screaming woman for about 50 meters, she shot her too. Oh my God. It was fabulous.
That's so
It was fabulous. She was She had such a great sense of humour. And she shot him again, just for good luck. And she turned to me and she goes, "Richard, don't ever tell that to anyone." Oh, the fun we had.
Oh, I bet. Oh, my God. That's just typical Liz. Thank you for that. Now, if you're wondering where the afters are, it's in Wetherspoons in Windsor. Looking forward to that. So now we've heard a little about disruptions the funeral has caused for those people in the UK, and I'm just going to go to the telephone now to Brian. Brian, do I have this right? Your surgery was cancelled this morning. Is that right?
That's correct, Bill, yes.
And what are we talking here? Wart removal, nose job, that kind of thing? Oh, God, you must be absolutely furious.
Do you know what, Bill? I can think of no greater honour than to show my respect for the Queen by dying instead of getting surgery. It's what she would have wanted.
Oh, well, that's lovely. That's actually quite moving, Brian. And look, I wish you all the best in your final hours alive, Brian. Brian? Oh, okay, maybe final minutes then. Godspeed, Brian. Godspeed.